Let's get to the scheduled program. Welcome, hip hop fam. This is the Lost Element brought to you by Hippie, where we hear from the real defenders of the culture. Yo, what's good, LA? Real quick, before we kick this off, shout out to everybody in the streets pushing back on ICE. We're riding with y'all. No silence, no fear. Free the people. Everyone here on the Lost Element and Hippie-HxA, we support the movement. And without further ado, we got another special guest here. Y'all probably seen him up, driving down the freeway, up in the heavens on rooftops. But without further ado, how we do here? What you ride, my boy?
Man, they call me Ziek from 420, the South Central clique, and ROB KTC.
That's right, man. So, I always like to start off, just tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how you jumped into the game of graff.
Well, I grew up in South Central, in the hundreds, actually. And, in South Central, you feel me, it's really, a lot of hood things going on. Everybody, with the gang banging and all of that. But, I really just took the other route with the graff, just, seeing all the hit-ups. I like to draw, so since I was young, I really like to be with the art. And then I really just been seeing, how people really could get their name up. So, I just started hitting up at a young age. I started, I think, 5th grade, 6th grade.
Man, 5th, 6th grade, that's right.
Yeah.
From there, man, how'd you get the name, bro? Were you writing other names, at that age, or was it always Ziek?
In the beginning, yeah, I actually landed on Ziek because my big brother, his name is Zook.
Okay.
So, it was a Ziek and Zook, he gave me the name. And, but before I landed on that, I started with, a couple other names, Shimmy was one of them. And Turf was another, but until I eventually developed my style with it, got a hang of it, and then my brother gave me that name, so I just took off, took it from there.
That's right, man. You say you started young, bro, so I'm guessing it was probably starting off with just little tags here and there. But do you remember the first time you went out bombing and hit a piece?
The first time that I actually caught a bomb was in 8th grade.
Okay.
It was actually a freeway spot on the 405? Yeah. And it was my first time actually really being able to use the colors, working with the tips and stuff like that, because you're really just hitting up. But you don't got the can control, and that's when I started to develop that can control, knowing my tips and what to use and whatnot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's right. And then from there, bro, you caught the bug and just...
Yeah, man, it's really something that once you start hitting up, you can't put it down.
Yeah.
And it's really the thrill. It's an addictive thing, but to me, it's really a sport. You know what I mean? You want to see who gets the best spots or who's really up there. So you trying to get there too, get that recognition. You feel me?
Yeah, most definitely, man. Bringing up the sport of it. I know you're a part of some really heavy hitting crews that have some credibility in this graff game. So I want to ask you, bro, what are those crews and, just the story behind how you started writing for those crews?
All right, well, the first crew I got put on was ROB, West Side, actually, the West Side clique. And from there, I got put on to 420, the South Central clique. But before I had to meet, the homies, do my little thing, start writing and stuff like that. Then, you kicking it. You get into a whole bunch of this Mali or whatever, and then, they just like the style. They like that, you putting in the work, you know what I mean? So that's how I got into that, with the 4 Dubs from the South Central side. Then eventually I got to meet the homies from the HA, and, just take it from there,
Yeah, most definitely, man. You say you started kicking it with them and then the vibes, but one thing I want to give credit for the 4 Dubs, we see you guys everywhere and you guys all got dope styles, bro.
I appreciate that, man. Everybody got different type of styles with it, but it's still at the end of the day, like I tell everybody, it's the same thing, you know. It's forward, there's always gonna be fours up, you know.
Yeah. So I want to ask you too, bro, because like you know, like seeing you up, like you got some dope stilos, you know, like cool rollers. But I want to ask you, like, how'd you develop that style?
Man, you know what? A lot of people say black books, but me personally, like I just like to be in the streets. Like you gotta be in the calles to develop that style, because it's like, yeah, you could hit up cool and all on paper, but if you can't do it on the wall, then you know it's kind of like. So I kind of like cut the middleman with the black book and just went straight to the calles. And like also you gotta be able to develop that sense, like that keen sense of like when you're in the streets, like are you catching a hot boy spot or like, you know what I mean? So the style, really, that's how it was. The faster the better, but also like the cleaner the better, you know what I mean? And when I picked up the roller, to be honest with you, at first it was a little bit difficult just because I couldn't get that, like that, you know, like that style. But once I figured out, like, you know, with the upside down eye and stuff, with the drips, and it was over right there, you know, I just started running around, killing the city.
That's right, man. It's dope though that how you said like you cut the middleman, just went straight out there, because like I heard it from other people when other people say it, like, you know, like black book will help you get that style, but you said it too, like the can control, like just actually being out there, you know. I want you to touch on this, like how important is it to have can control? Because like some people say you could just go to black book, but if you don't actually go out there, your black book hit up's not gonna look like how you think it is.
The same. So I think it's very, very important to can control. You know, it's very important with your cuts and just knowing, like, you know, just knowing how to use the can. You know, some people just don't know how to like really use that, but they could they get down like on black books. You know what I mean? So
I want to ask you, brother, because like you know, like, what's your favorite spot to hit up on? Because you know we see your name everywhere.
Man, I just like running like everywhere. You know, I can't really pinpoint a favorite spot.
Yeah.
Because I just like, I just like to be in the streets, like running around everywhere, you know. So it's like, if I'm not hitting up the K-Town, like I'm somewhere in the HA, or I'm somewhere on Melrose, you know, like just like running around. So I can't really pinpoint, but downtown especially, you know, like.
Yeah.
But I like to keep it local, you know. Like I like to keep my section on lock, you know. Like
most definitely.
I think that's most important about it, like.
So all over, like just going all over and keeping like, you know, your little section on lock. Like, is there like something in particular you like prefer to hit up on? Like, would it be like a freeway or like the shutter gates or walls?
Man, I think freeways are cool. Yeah, I like to get down with freeways, but my thing most is like the tarps.
Okay.
You know, and also like abandoned, like a little abandoned spots, or like something that I see that's been rocking and I see that it's toy, like I just go take over it, you know. Like it's you know, I'm rather just put a Ziek there. And it just varies on like the I guess the night or whatever, the mood, I guess, you know. Sometimes I want to just go on a hot boy spree, or just run around down to 110 and be like calm hitting a roller or something.
Yeah, most definitely, bro. Like when choosing your spots, like, you know, like on these streets, like how do you decide? Like, are you looking for something that's like more visible for people, or like something harder to get up to, harder to buff? Like, what is it that you're looking for when you choose those spots?
I think I'm looking for like those three, like the trifecta. Like it has to be visible.
Yeah.
Like I know that's gonna last for a long time, and I know it's gonna be up there. You know, like the higher the better. Me, I think it's the higher the better. Because it takes forever to get buffed, and if people trying to whack you out or like, you know, go over you, they can't cap you, like, because it's up there, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of like all three, but mainly it has to be visible, because if you're not seeing it, like, then what's the point of hitting it up, you know?
Yeah, most definitely.
I don't think there's no point of hitting up if no one's gonna see your work.
Yeah. Man, when you said like the higher the better, like something I've noticed now too is like with the buff team, they're getting kind of lazy. If it's too high for them, they're not even gonna mess with it. You know?
Yeah.
You know, when you're painting, is there anything that's like that you won't paint on, or is like everything game?
You know what? Respectfully, I think everything is game, but not like a cemetery or something like houses, you know, like just like properties that are like, you see that they're clean, like why would you hit up, especially if there's no graff in the area, like you just look like a bozo, like hitting up, you're gonna be the only one hitting up. But then it depends, because graffiti is all about, you know, you gotta create in order to destroy, destroy in order to create. So like it really just matters on the artist, you know.
Yeah.
Me personally, I like to destroy a lot of stuff. Like, you know, if I think it looks good there, I'm gonna catch it and, you know.
Yeah. For sure, man. So like you said, like you don't really hit up in the black book for like when you do go out and paint, like you got a dope style. Like, do you have like an idea in your head, or is it just all flow?
It's flow, but really the size, like, because in your head you could be thinking something, and then once you actually get to the spot, you probably get a little big, you get a little small, you know. So it's really like measuring the letters.
Yeah.
And since I hit my, you know, my little like unique style, like, so I just like probably change it up with the color, might add like a little design or something, you know. But yeah, I just usually just go off of size.
Okay, that's right, man. All right, we're gonna be hitting a little music break in a little bit, but before we go to that music break, I want to ask you, bro, is graffiti art or is it vandalism?
Man, you know what? I don't consider it vandalism, but I also don't consider it like art as well. It's like a mixture of both. It's like a thin line between that, you know. That's a hard controversy where people are gonna say it's vandalism, but other people think it's artwork, you know. I think it's up to you to however you want to take it, because there's other people that, you know, I'm gonna just be killing the streets, and there's other people that they go to galleries, they start painting on canvases, and they want to get like, you know, in that type of scene. Then that would become like street art or whatever, I guess. But
yeah,
but it depends on how you want to take the route, you know.
For sure, man. All right, y'all, we'll be back. Y'all listening to Lost Element. We got Ziek here in the studio. We got some music for y'all. We got some underground tracks from Black Smurf, Cutthroat Mafia, and more. But remember, you guys are listening to Lost Element on KQBH LP, Los Angeles, California, 101.5 FM, a community service of the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, broadcasting live on your FM dial and streaming on KQBHLA.com. So we're back to Lost Element on KQBH LP, Los Angeles, California, 101.5 FM. Community service of the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, broadcasting live on your FM dial and streaming on KQBHLA.com. You know, we got Ziek in the building. We're just jump straight into the interview. You know, first one I got for you is, do you got any crazy or funny stories just being out there in the field?
Man, I got too many to get on, but I think the funniest one was, we were getting chased by 12 one time, right? And then one of my boys, he trying to hit the gate, and he couldn't really pass the gate. So he kind of got stuck in a position where it was just like, we lead him or we gonna keep going, fuck it, come on, let's, get him, let's get him. But I think that's really was one of them, because we all thought everything was green, and we just looked to the back and he just hanging off the fence, so. Yeah.
Man. Going off of that, bro, do you have a favorite memory, just kicking with the homies painting, or just painting in general?
Yeah, man, you know what? It's I think just kicking it with the homies, because throughout the years I done lost a lot of close friends, and I think that's really what it is, those moments that you spend together, because it's the homies, but when it's a crew thing, it's like a family thing.
Yeah.
It's we grew up together, we got this bond. So to me, it's more like that, the moments kicking in with the homies.
Yeah, man, that's right. So I want to ask you, bro, like, what keeps you pushing for graff? Like, is it for the fame? Is it the love, release? Like, what makes you do graff?
Man, you know what? Like, it's really a stress reliever. Sometimes, you know, you're going through certain things and just picking up a can, you know, it's something like being out in the street, like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, you're alone. It's like you're catching a spot and then seeing it the next day, or people telling you like, well, I've seen that.
Yeah.
So I think it's really the fame too, but to an extent also, like, I'm not chasing no type of cloud or anything, you know, like a lot of people right now, they just picked up a can, like when the towers, like, you know, everybody all of a sudden, like, they're hitting up, you know, but to me, I think it's really just like a stress reliever, like it keeps my mind off things, and I like to see my name up too, you know.
Yeah, most definitely, man. That's something I want to ask you is like, do you see graff as a part of hip hop, or do you think it stands on its own?
I think graffiti definitely came out of hip hop. Like, if you really trace back to it, it was like, it goes hand in hand, you know, like you got the break dancers, and then, like, you know, just the style of living, like when it comes to hip hop, you know, like there's a lot of like graff in it, and I feel like people like started developing the graff with the break dancers, you know, they'll have like the little murals or like some in the back, and like, you know, it was graffiti and stuff. So.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Like, you know, I want to ask you, like, what does graff mean personally to you?
I mean, it's like, it's something that you gotta stand for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you picking up a can, it's like, it's something for you, like, for you to express yourself, you know, like, it's a self, like, gratifying thing, you know? Then you get, but it's also like, the crew love, you know, with your brothers, you know, making sure y'all get that fame up, and like, you know, so to me, graff is just really like a sport, you know. I go back to it's a competitive sport that, you know, you just want to be like, when you do retire, it's like, oh yeah, you know what, I remember that guy, yeah, that used to get up and stuff like that, and then you get that transition, like when you go into like art shows and things, like nobody wants to work with you or don't even want to hit you if they don't know who you are, you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like it's really like a self thing, you know, trying to just get there.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Like, the next one I got, man, is like, you know, we're in LA right now, and in my opinion, I think LA is one of the global hubs for graffiti, you know. But I want to ask you, like, how does the LA graff scene and culture, like, how would you explain it to an outsider?
You definitely gotta have hands. Beef does come with this. Be ready to, if you're really about it, be ready to die for it, I guess, you know, because I'm just speaking personally, but if you're out here riding in the LA scene, you definitely gotta keep your head on the swivel. You gotta watch out, not just for the cops, but for your enemies, you know what I mean? And like, if you get topped or capped, you make sure you get your spot back, because it's all about, you can't let it happen, you know what I mean? Like, unless it's a certain thing, like where it comes to an agreement, all right, it's cool. But if you're not getting your spots back, then what are you doing, you know? That's most definitely the thing I feel like out here in LA, like beef is number one, like, you know?
Yeah. Like, do you feel like LA still respects, like, you know, the OGs of graff and like just graff history, or do you feel like that's starting to fade?
You know what, I think it's not starting to fade, I meant to say. Most definitely respect the greats, you know, like you wouldn't get your style or you get the inspiration if you didn't see like somebody. To me, it was always Saber, Revoke, Norms, you know, like Pastel from OTR, like just seeing people like around my area, like, and just in other areas, but just constantly seeing that, like, and I remember growing up, it's just like made me want to get there. So you definitely got to give flowers to where it's due, like, you know what I mean? Like some of the older homies as well, like, you know, Kunz and Real, like Drill, you know, definitely put in the work. So it's if you don't give that you know, like that respect and like acknowledgement to the greats, then I feel it's like you know.
Yeah. I want to ask you too, like, what's your take on the buff in LA? Like, does it drive you to like go out there more, or is it like, does it burn you out?
Well, if I get buffed, I never go back to the same spot.
Okay.
It's a waste of paint because I know it's gonna get buff quick. But yeah, it's definitely like, you know, you do catch some spots and then it's like it rocks like 2-3 days and it's like you know. So I rather do my homework, like, you know, make sure like the spot that's gonna be caught it's not gonna get buffed like that, you know.
Yeah. This next one, man, like I want to ask is like like, because you know LA is a hub, and I feel like most people who get up, like, they'll know each other's names, and like when there's out of towners who come in, try to like hit up, like, is it like a respect thing, or is it like attention, or is it competition?
You could do what you want, just don't go over me.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna definitely go over your shit, and I'm gonna go to your city and go over you. Like, you know, I just feel like if you're from out of town, don't just come out here thinking that everything is gonna be cool. Like yeah, you get up, you meet certain writers, but it's not like, oh, like we're friends or something. You're just somebody that I met in the streets while I was hitting up. Like, you know, it's other people that get up there. But definitely, if you're out of town, man, trying to come right out here, like, don't get your paint robbed because it's not sweet.
Yeah. You know, with graffiti, man, like, there's like rules to this game. Like, you know, for people listening in who don't know those rules, like, what are some rules to graffiti?
Man, number one rule is don't cap nobody if you ain't ready for the beef. The second rule is don't cap me if you ain't ready for the beef. But I just think it's like, just make sure you do your homework, you know what I mean? Like, always have like your tips ready, you know. Sometimes like have an extra because it might be clogged, you know. You get defective tips or your paint's still stuck in there. Like, make sure you have something that you cannot like be able to take a lot of paint, but it's not a big bag, you know. Like, yeah, just be alert, be stealth mode, you know what I mean? Just like always do your homework though, you know, like, because you don't want to run into something and it's like, and it blows up in your face, you know. And it's I feel like those are like my go-to rules, you know. Like, don't whack nobody out. If you get capped, you definitely gotta go back. Yeah. And be creative with the spots too, you know. Don't follow rules. Like, there's no rules to this. Like, you know, if you feel like your name could be up, so, you know, do it. You know what I mean? Yeah, most definitely, man. You know, nowadays I want to ask you, like, because of social media is a big one, but like, what is the real definition of being up? Because I feel like now, like, someone being up and is kind of watered down because of social media. No, you know, it's true, because, you know, people get, you know, shout out to, you know, the streets are watching, but some people think they get, you know, posted on the graph page and they're all city. But, you know, it's like, I feel like social media really like messed that up, because, you know, people just take a flick somewhere that is, like I say, it's not visible. So it's just like for the content, you could say. But I think it's really the streets, like, you know, streets. It has to be like, social media didn't exist, and how would we know who you are, you know, if we didn't see you in the streets, you know? Yeah. Has graffiti changed like how you view the city or the world itself? Yes, it has, because, you know what, it's having a voice. You know, with graffiti, you're able to, you know, like, you're doing your own thing, you know what I mean? It's like you're not controlled. And it definitely helped me, like, become social in better ways, I guess, you know? And, like, be more alert, and, you know, just, like, yeah, you know, it's cool. It definitely kept me at ease, you know? Without graff, I feel like, you know what I mean? Would have been in a bad place, I guess, you know? Yeah. You know, with graff and the whole culture, I want to ask you, like, you know, for someone who's actually out there, you know, defending this culture of graff, like, what are your thoughts on, like, the monetization of graffiti? Like, for example, like, all these companies using graff, or like video games putting graffiti in their games. Like, does it change the way you do it, or change your direction? Well, to me, it doesn't really matter. Like, I think when Mark Echols dropped that Getting Up game, that was the best game for PS2. I was playing that all day, and it was cool because it was a graph game, you know? If I couldn't go bomb, I'm going to go bomb in the game. And I do feel like it's controversial because, like, the people that are actually, like, with the companies and they're using the graph, like, in real life, they don't like graph, you know? Like, but if they got to use it to get consumers, like, you know... I mean, I can't really, you know, make your money, dog. I can't tell you anything. Man, give me a job, you know. Let me do something for you, you know.
Yeah. Man, with that being said, bro, like, I want to go back earlier, like how you're saying, like, you know, graph is like a stress reliever, I guess. Yeah. You know, but like, you know, because you got your name and then what you write. Like, do you ever feel like it's like two versions of yourself, like kind of like a Batman, like?
Definitely, like a Superman. Like you put the glasses on, yeah, definitely. That's like it's like my other like me, you know. But the funny thing is, everybody calls me Ziek though. Like I hate people knowing my government name. Like nobody ever calls me my government name. If I meet you for the first time, what's your? Oh, my name's Ziek. You know, it's always like keep it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
But definitely, it's like that. You know, Clark Kent type of vibe. You know?
That's right. You know, like you brought up like some legends that you saw like growing up, you know, so I want to ask you, like, do you ever think about like the legacy and the name like Ziek, like in the long run, like what your legacy will be?
Well, my son, his name is Ziek. I named him Ziek, but it's Zeke. But yeah, I got like a lot of like, you know, young homies that I'm trying to teach them the right way with this graph, you know, like make sure they know the routes, the in and outs, how to actually do this the right way. Like the legacy, I guess, is just always gonna be the crew, you know. Like it depends how you keep it. You got to keep it afloat, you know. Like I said, like I want to keep my graph going, trying to get up there, so I could be, you know, like, oh yeah, like I said earlier, I remember that guy, you know, stuff like that. So definitely the Ziek legacy is gonna keep going, you know, like somehow, some way, you know.
Yeah, that's right, man. All right, man. Before we shift into the music side, bro, I want to ask you, man, because like I see a lot of rollers, but like, do you prefer rollers or spray paint?
You know what? That one's tricky. Spray paint is better because you probably won't get busted like that. Rollers, it kind of takes time. Depends on how big you want to go, you know. Like, or you have somebody with you because, you know, you have several people doing the filling, doing the outline while you're doing the filling. But I just feel like it's time consuming, but definitely I'm going to go with rollers, man.
Rollers?
Yeah, just rollers.
That's right. All right, man. So, like I said, we're going to shift into music. I want to ask you, like, when did you start getting into making music, and, like, how did that story start where you picked up the mic?
Like, just like I used to write music and stuff in high school, you know, like 10th, 11th grade, around, like, started right there, like, freestyling with the homies and stuff like that. And then I really started, like, writing music, like, getting to it, and started recording. I started seeing people messing with my music, like, you know, they liking it. So, I kept making, you know, music, you know. It's been good, man. You know, I like to keep it, like, use my graph with my music, like, incorporate it together, you know. Most definitely.
I was going to ask you that, like, because how you say you like to incorporate the graph into the music, like, would you say, like, the graph mindset of, like, being competitive, like, would that be in your music, like, trying to, like, put out the best possible music? Oh,
yes, of course. It has to always be the best, like, music. Like, with graph and music, no, because graph, you could be a little bit sloppy, you know? Mm-hmm. Sometimes your feeling is a little sloppy, or, you know, whatever. But I feel with the music, like, it has to be on point. But the same thing goes with the graph. You know, it varies.
For sure. I want to ask you, like, for the music side, bro, like, what type of sound are you going for? Like, if someone's never listened to your music, like, how would you explain them your sound?
I mean, I think it's more like it's like LA based music, but it's just, in general, it's just more like just, I could say like street rap, you know, like underground mixed with like LA music, but you know, I always keep it like South Central culture. You know, I make music of what I listen to, like what inspires me. You know?
That's right, man. So, what name do you go by for the music side? Like, so if people want to go out there and listen to your music.
Oh yeah, they call me Wealthy Robando.
Wealthy Robando.
Yeah. So you can find my music, you know, streaming on all platforms, and check out my videos on YouTube, and you know, you can find my music everywhere like that, all streaming platforms.
Okay, that's right, man. I want to ask you, like, how'd you get the name for, like, your artist name for rapping?
Oh man, so I'm from ROB, and so everybody when I was in the pen, they'll call me Robando, so I stuck with that.
Yeah.
I said the only way you're gonna get wealthy is if you robbing, you know what I mean? So like Wealthy Robando, and I stuck with it, and you know, I kept it like that.
That's right, man. With the music side, bro, like, you got any future projects or tapes in the works that the folks could tap into?
Man, right now I'm actually working on a few projects. You know, I have a couple of stuff on hold. It was a little standby, but right now, you know, gonna be pushing music, you know, this year, you know, definitely working on a couple of tapes and shooting some videos, you know.
Okay, that's right, man. You know, like, for the viewers out there right now, like, you know, who are waiting for those tapes and those projects, like, what song should they go out and listen to right now?
Man, definitely the Los Scandalous tape. It's like that type of vibe, you know, like it's like real gritty, real grimy, real street, you know, but it's also like you gotta be able to not just talk about when you own, but you gotta be able to talk about when you off. You know, and a lot of people don't talk about that. So this new music that I'm bringing is like real. It's some real, like, you know, like,
yeah.
And I feel like that's really the best music that you give out, because like that's something that's real relatable. Like, you know what I mean? So it's definitely something people gonna look forward to. You know.
For sure, man. So y'all heard it. Go stream that Wealthy Robando. Stay tuned for the new projects coming up. And then, you know, right now we're going to move to a little segment we call the quick hitters, man. So the first one I got is your favorite brand of spray paint.
Rust-Oleum.
Okay, is there a reason why you choose Rusto over?
Because I rack all my paint, man. That's why.
Okay, that's right, man. Next one I got for you, bro, is, because you're on the music side too, is your top 5 favorite artists.
I'm gonna go with Motley Crue.
Okay.
Slayer, Redman, Ghostface, and Pantera.
Okay. And you put some like rock in there. Like, do you ever try to like incorporate both rock and rap into your music?
Yeah, and a lot of my lyrics, like I use a lot of like rock, like references. You know what I mean? And so I like to like definitely like try to put that hand in hand. You know, like with that.
Okay, for sure, man. Next one I got for you, bro, is your favorite local food spot.
Definitely gonna be Dino's, man, on Pico. You know.
Okay.
World famous chicken, man. If you ain't tried it, go to Dino's. Trust, you know.
Yeah, Dino's fire. All right, man. Last one I got for you, bro, is what's a piece of advice for a youngster out there who's trying to jump into this game of graff?
Definitely be on your P's and Q's. Perfect your style before you even like get out there. Know what you're doing. Don't like cap anybody. Don't get unnecessary beef, you know. And if you do got beef, make sure that you do it right. You know what I mean? And just like watch out. Don't be so friendly. And always like, you know, do your homework. I'm gonna keep saying that over again. You know, like if you don't do your homework, you're gonna definitely get caught or get caught in a jam with somebody, or you never know. So just respect takes you a long way as well. And just keep at it, and you're just gonna get your name up too.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Well, Zeke, thank you for the interview, bro.
Appreciate the time.
Yeah, you know, you guys are listening to Lost Element on KQBH LP, Los Angeles, California, 101.5 FM. community service of the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory, broadcasting live on your FM dial and streaming on KQBHLA.com. We'll see y'all next week.
Alright, another one down. That was cool, man. I appreciate that. Definitely a little bit nervous, and you know.